Hey guys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Please excuse the view here. I'm sitting in the parking lot at school and it's a weird angle with the sun, but you know, my face isn't important. It's not that pretty to look at. It's the message that I want to get across. I want to talk about the food shortage and what we're dealing with right now. You know, and I've heard people on other channels, oh, there's not a food shortage. There isn't a food shortage. There is a food shortage. And people post videos when they walk through Walmart and the shelves look a little empty or they are completely empty, you know, and you've got to take this with a grain of salt because it's a one-point perspective and there are many perspectives. You've also got to take into consideration the time of day that the person went into the store. Maybe they weren't stocking, you know, until another 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe they were purposely letting the stock run down so it was easier to stock the shelves. We don't know all that. But as preppers, what we do know is it's better to be safe than sorry. But you can take cues from these mishaps and you can kind of read into it a little bit and then you can kind of see if things fall into place. I.e., do I believe there is a food shortage or is going to be a food shortage? I think we're in a food shortage right now. I think we've been in a food shortage for several weeks, if not several months. I think the shortage comes from not necessarily the product not being there. I think the main issue for the shortage, well, let's say in rotation, is being able to get it to the stores. I think the transportation and the supply chain issue has been a major deal. And I've got evidence to back this up simply because the valuable items, like the high value items, like say your produce and things like that, if you don't live in an area of the country where there's a lot of it grown and produced really close to you and it's really got to be trucked in some distance, you're still looking at getting produce, but you're looking at the shelf life of that produce being reduced by 2-3 days, maybe even a week. I myself have noticed, you know, and it's weird. Your local grocers that get their supplies from local growers seem to be handling the issue with the freshness and the food a lot better than your big chain stores like Walmart. And I'm assuming that is because they buy, you know, from a grand scale of things and they ship nationwide because they have these big holding warehouses where they keep stuff cool until they can ship it out. But what I've noticed firsthand is your fresh produce, you know, things like lettuce and carrots and celery and different greens and stuff in Walmart is looking rough. I mean, it's looking rough on a regular basis. Now, there's a couple days a week you go through there and you can obviously tell they just stocked it. They just got in a shipment and, you know, they'll have quite a bit of stuff in all the areas. But then for the most part during the week, I've seen massive shortages on lettuce. I've seen the store go without carrots for a week or two at a time. And then even when they do get some carrots, those things, they last. I mean, I know for a fact because I buy carrots on a regular basis because that's what Buddy gets for his treats every day. And so I'm always getting carrots. And usually I can get a big 2-pound bag of carrots and put them in the fridge and he gets one a day. And that 2-pound bag of carrots will last 3 weeks. And they're still good to go when he's on the last carrot. The last couple of times I've done that, I've had to almost throw away half a bag of carrots because they just spoiled, which tells me that they were had to be shipped a long way. They were stored longer than they should have been. Or it tells me that the store or Walmart itself is relaxing its protocols on the quality of the food that they're putting out there for us to eat. Either way, this wasn't a one-time thing. It's happened multiple times over the last month and a half. And not just with the carrots. It's happened, the celery disappeared for a while. The lettuce has really been rough. Lettuce is just taking a butt whooping. And the shelf life is it's literally down to days now. So that tells me that there's a strain in the supply chain. That tells me that there's maybe they're having to cut a few corners to put more product on the shelves that they normally would not have put out there simply because the quality isn't there and the lifespan of that food isn't there when you bring it home. So yeah, I think there is a food shortage. I think we're dealing with it right now, but I don't think, obviously they're not going to tell us that because it'll start a panic and that's not what they want. They want to take what little bit of supplies they still have on hand and what little bit of production they have on hand and stretch it out as far as they possibly can and play the, oh, don't worry, everything's all right game. Because the generation that's in charge now is just delusional. And it goes back to everybody saying, oh, every grocery store has a 3-day supply of food on hand. Come on, people, wake up. All right, here's the deal. Number one, it's not a rule that they have to maintain 72 hours worth of food on hand. Number two, grocery stores don't have the big, huge warehouses in the back like they used to. Some of your local grocers still have a little storage room in the back, but it's still not massive enough to hold what they need. When they say that the grocery stores have a 3-day supply of food on hand, that's a 3-day supply of food at normal volume. That's people shopping the exact same way they normally shop in a non-pandemic, food depleted world. Okay, that's in a perfect world. We haven't been in a perfect world in a while now, okay? So no, there is no 3-day supply of food in your grocery stores. If the horn went off and everybody started panic buying, right now, it's 8:44 a.m. on Monday. If the horn went off and the panic buying started and the toilet paper alert went off, your local grocery stores would be picked clean by the end of the day, period. Walmart included, by the end of the day. The only reason that they wouldn't be is if they voluntarily choose not to stock the shelves and hang on to some stuff in the back, close the store early where they have a little bit to put out tomorrow. That's their business, okay? So they're going to want to maintain a little bit. They're going to wait for the signal to jack the prices up. I don't believe anything mainstream media tells me about anything, especially my food supply. And people these days, when they hear about an impending food shortage, they laugh it off like it's no big deal. What if it was oxygen? Oh, here in a couple of weeks, we're going to start running low on oxygen. Everybody freaks out. Well, you got to have oxygen. You can't live without oxygen. You got to breathe. Guess what? Einstein, you got to eat too. Okay? One is just as important as the other. One does not outweigh the other. I don't want to hear, it's not a big deal. We've got all these massive farms growing everywhere. They're producing the food. No. I mean, if you are not prepared to go a minimum, and I know everybody, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, if you can't make it the entire winter, now in Florida, that lasts about 3 days. In Wisconsin or Canada or Alaska or somewhere, you're talking 5, 6, 7 months of no growing, no producing food. Then you need to have your dead zone. You need to have that much food put up for your family. If you don't, you're doing it wrong and you're an idiot. You are absolutely an idiot. You can laugh at preppers all you want, but you're not getting none of my grub. You've had the warnings. Yes, we're going to have a food shortage. Yes, there's going to be implications. I think the first thing that's going to happen is prices are going to go through the roof. I think you're going to start seeing $10 gallons of milk, then $15, then $20 gallons of milk. You're going to see the cartons get smaller and the price go up. Yes, you're going to see smaller bottles, bigger prices, simply because it allows more people the purchasing power. And now you have 10,000 units of 3/4 of a gallon jars versus 7,000 units of 1 gallon jars. So you have more room for profit when you bust it up and make it smaller and you charge more. That's coming. And people are wondering why it costs the same amount to feed the cow. No, it has nothing to do with the cows, ladies and gentlemen. It's been all over the internet. Off the Wall Prepper has been preaching it for weeks. Pay attention. It has nothing to do with that. Food shortage just simply means when you go to the store to get something, you can't get it. It doesn't mean it's not available. It means you can't get it. It's not there where you want it, i.e. the truck driver did not bring it to you. Now, take that into consideration. Let's just say there's plenty of food and we've got all the truck drivers we need. Everybody's happy in a unicorn fart, fairy juice kind of world, and it's all there. But then the gas prices go from $2.50 a gallon to, $7, $8, $9, $12 a gallon for diesel. $15 a gallon for diesel. Do you think these trucking companies are going to eat that loss? No, they're going to pass it on to the products. That's where you get $20 for a gallon of milk. That's where you get $20 for a loaf of bread. That's where it gets passed down. Keep an eye on the truckers, people. There's a reason they say they're the heartbeat of America. They are what bring you your food. Unless you live in an area where you can grow your own and you have local gardens and local farms and ranches to get your meat and stuff like that. And even if you do, you're still going to feel it because they're going to be pressured to send that stuff out nationwide. They're going to be pressured to spread it out a little bit further. So even if your little corner of the world has beef and hogs and chickens and massive gardens and they've got the indoor hydroponic farms where they're growing produce year round, you're not in heaven. You're not insulated. You're not in a perfect world. That the big G is going to step in and start regulating food supplies, where it goes. And guess who gets prioritized? Population centers, the exact opposite of where you are growing the food. Priority is going to go to where the most people are. Priority is going to go to where they can influence the most control. When the big fences go up around D.C. and L.A. and Portland and New York City, and they've got these tens of millions of people locked in these concrete, basic high-rise prisons, and they're controlling what goes in, what goes out. They already control the media. That's where the majority of the food's going to go because they can influence the most control over the most amount of people in the high population centers. So if you're out in your perfect little world and you're not producing your own and you're not taking care of your own, you're just relying on the area that you live in, the production area, and you think that production is going to stay there, wake up. That's just not how it works. They will take control of that and they will distribute it how they plan on distributing it, and it's going to go to the population centers. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Mr. Spock was right on that. So go ahead and start prepping up, people. I mean, obviously your rice, your beans, make sure you have a fresh water supply. Make sure you have a way to clean your water. But you want your rice, your beans, you want your high proteins, you want your high calories. I mean, if I saw somebody canning celery or doing something with celery, I would laugh. I mean, celery is a negative return food. Your body burns more energy eating celery than celery provides for your body. Okay. So, pick and choose what you're putting energy into, the food that you're going to put into your body. You want high protein, high calorie, high return stuff. You want your rice, you want your beans, you want your starches. Work on your potatoes. Learn to can. I mean, I can't tell you how much of a cushion and how comfortable it makes somebody feel, even in times of stress like now, knowing that you've got jars of food already prepared that's going to last for 8, 10, 15, maybe 20 years or more. Now's the time. Now, if you haven't done it yet, if you haven't crossed that bridge and started putting up food, and they can call it hoarding all they want, they can make up names and terms for this. I don't care. It's mine. I bought it. They're coming to take it. They ain't taking shit. They can ask for it. I may sell them some at market value plus 10%, but they're not taking shit. It ain't happening. No, you can take an ass whooping. You're not taking my food. That's all there is to it. But if you're not prepared, if you're not stocking up food for yourself, your family, for the future, you need to really sit down and do a self-inventory on why you're being stupid. You need to start putting up food. You need to get ready because food is the weapon. It's the one thing you're going to have to feel secure and to be able to function for the near future. Please heed those words. And granted, it's not religion. It's my personal opinion. But acknowledging the fact that there's a food supply shortage or a food shortage is too late when it already hits you. You need to go ahead right now. And here's the thing. If you've got, all right, you've got $500, I've got $500. You can invest it in a CD if you want to, or put it in a low yield savings account, or do whatever you want to do to grow your money. I'm going to take all $500 and I'm going to put it in food that I can store long term. And if nothing ever happens, I still made more money than you, because the rice I'm going to be eating 10 years from now, I paid 43 cents a pound for. The rice that you're eating 10 years from now, you're probably going to be paying $5, $10, $15, $20 a pound for. So I got way, food is the best savings account, the best investment you can possibly make. It holds and gains more value than precious metals. Think about it. Do it. Preserve your food. Put up your food, people. I mean, I don't know how much more I can stress it. It's at that point right now where it's time to shit or get off the pot. Bottom line. That's all I got for you today. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.